Teaching 120. Long ago it was announced to you by the mouth of a prophet, that a time would come in which the divine Spirit would be poured out on all flesh and on all spirit. Truly I tell you that is the time in which you are living, but you were surprised unprepared, because you gave very little importance to those prophetic voices and you did not study or analyze that prophecy. Today you are looking for everything that is supernatural for you, in order to prove that spiritual life exists. Some observe and study the stars, others wait for voices or mysterious signs, others want to find the explanation in science, but there are very few who have concentrated in the depths of their spirit to hear the voice of their Lord, feel Him and love Him. When in the second era I appeared for the last time before my disciples, they saw how a cloud enveloped the Master's silhouette, lifting Him up and carrying Him towards infinity. There they received the promise and the announcement that the Lord would return to men, in the same spiritual form in which those men saw Him leave. Only they could understand that divine vision, because they were the only ones who were prepared, while the world slept. Now it is said that the word of that prophet of the first times and the promise that I made to you, you have seen fulfilled, but my coming in spiritual form, only those who have prepared themselves or those who waited for me have felt it. With the same solemn silence with which I ascended in a cloud in that second era, I descend now over all the spirits, but not everyone has seen, felt, or heard me, because now as then, very few are those who were prepared for it. Gentle is my voice, however my presence will again move humanity in all its aspects. Rulers, Pharisees and scribes mocked Jesus when they heard Him say that He was king and that He had come to reign. When they saw Him expire on a cross, their mockery and doubts increased, but they did not imagine that very soon they would perish along with their kingdoms and vassals, and that He, whom they had judged and died as an impostor, would conquer multitudes and peoples with the truth of their doctrine, full of justice, love and humility. Here you have me, visible and tangible for those who prepare and want to look at me, making light in all spirits, so that no one looks for me in a way other than the spiritual, nor tries to find me in the exterior, when he takes me in his heart. Elijah has come to prepare for my arrival. He has once again prepared the paths, enlightening the understandings and untying the lips of those for whom I have come to give you my word. When I finish speaking to you, making use of human understanding, Elijah will continue to shed light on the path of humanity. Great is the message of the envoy in this age. Know that from the second era I told you, Elijah will come to restore all things to their former meaning. Who are the ones who truly feel His spiritual presence? I could well tell you as I said at that time, Elijah has been with you and you have not felt Him. Forerunner you call Him, and indeed He has been from the earliest times. He gave you a glimpse of divine communication through man, He raised the dead before Jesus came into the world, He brought you the first messages about the reincarnation of the Spirit, He has been preparing the paths of the Lord ever since, until the present era, in which you who enjoy this communication, marvel at the order and perfection with which each one of the spiritual revelations has been carried out. Elijah is like a shepherd, follow him, because he will lead you along the true path, until you reach the fold where He who is the Father of all creation awaits you. In the silence of your meditation, prepare yourselves spiritually, because He will come closer to reveal to you everything that your mind has not been able to understand. The fight draws near and Elijah comes to strengthen you. Do not fear, do not distrust your spiritual guide, because if at that time he made a lightning bolt descend with his prayer, to prove the existence of the true God to the worshippers of false gods, in this one he will do prodigies before the materialized world that shake it and make it open its eyes to the truth. Do you fear to speak with your brothers about the reincarnation of the Spirit? Are you not convinced of the loving justice that it contains? Compare this form of restitution with that of eternal punishment in the perennial fire of hell, a form used by men to intimidate the spirit of humanity. Tell me which of these two forms gives you the idea of a divine justice that is perfect and merciful. One reveals cruelty, unlimited rancor, revenge, the other contains only forgiveness, charity, hope of attaining eternal life. How great is the distortion that my teachings have suffered because of misinterpretations. I prepare you for the fight because I know that you will be fought for what you are going to teach, but if death surprised your brothers who are fighting you right now, and I asked them when they died in sin, what do they prefer, if the eternal fire in which they believe or the opportunity to purify themselves in a new life? It is true that I say that they will express their preference for the latter solution even if they had fought it in their lives blinded by fanaticism. Disciples, be faithful and persevering in my doctrine, because in the end the light will defeat the darkness. Light is true faith, it is reason, knowledge, wisdom. Elijah will go before you like a divine torch lighting your way. At this time I come to clothe you with virtue, so that you can fulfill the delicate mission that I have entrusted to you in the third era, a mission that will be for the good of humanity and that will serve to elevate your spirit on the path of evolution. In counselors and doctors I am turning those who yesterday were outcasts or simply selfish. It is necessary that you have faith in your gifts so that you can do amazing works. If you have faith, you will have to marvel at the works you do, to the point of saying to me, why do you grant me so much, being so unworthy? Understand that after the crucible of pain through which you have passed, my divine teaching has been preparing you so that you can evolve. Give with absolute disinterest in what I have given you and you will open many eyes to the truth and you will move many of your brothers with your actions. Teach that whoever serves humanity, serves me. There are temptations on the path, but to fight against them I have given you the necessary weapons. Disciples, how many of you in your humility have been like lighthouses in the lives of your brothers? As long as you practice my doctrine, you will be invincible in the tests, but if you do not unite or if you practice this teaching under your own idea and will, then you will be defeated in the fight, not my work, however, because it is the truth and it is indestructible. Prepare yourselves, because after my departure I will leave you the prepared lands, the regions, the villages, even the nations, and you will continue sowing this seed, teaching those who did not listen to me, giving them the essence of my word and making my prophecies known about what will happen after 1950. Yes people, I will leave these prophecies imprinted in hearts, because by that time you will no longer hear this word through human channels. Of these spokespersons that you contemplate today, some will be raised from the earth and those that remain must close their minds for this manifestation and that of my spiritual realm. That will be the time of snares and dangers in which false prophets will arise, false spokesmen and false gods will speak. By then you must be strong so that you don't let yourself be surprised by the impostors. Take the strength of my word, so that you will not succumb to weakness. Be submissive, practice obedience, be ready to execute what I command you and you will see that pain goes out of your way and you will never be surprised. It is not my will that you perish, nor that the disasters of which I warn you of, happen to you. Watch and pray, that just as in the world men can lay traps for you, to make you fall, you know well that in the afterlife there are impure and disturbed beings that can send you their darkness. Observe, O multitude of guides, that the people that listen to my orders are understanding the charges that I make to them and the responsibility of my spokesman, and if tomorrow you do not comply with what is ordered, this same people will rise up ignoring you and making you acknowledge your mistakes. It is my will that this people and the multitudes that will come tomorrow, find you occupying with all zeal and dignity the place that corresponds to each one, so that by your work men recognize that you have been the good farmers of this countryside. Do you understand me, people? Do you intend to carry out my orders during these last years of my manifestation among you? Analyze my mandate about your unification so that you find the true meaning of it. Many times you have wanted to demonstrate your union to me and I have proved to you the falsehood that had existed in it. I have wanted you to help each other, to respect each other, since the position that each one holds has been assigned by me, that you have true charity, because then I will find in your works the foundations for a uniform practice and worship. Interpret my wishes and obey my commands, because if you do not do so, you do not know the chaos that awaits you. I do not come to instill in you useless fears, I come to wake you up now that it is time to meditate, to correct your mistakes. You will not say tomorrow, when you stumble, Lord, why, if you see everything, did you never prophesy these misfortunes to us? Disciples, I have given you this lesson on this day, because I do not want you to cry after my departure, although I know that many will cry. If in the early days all that was spiritual was a mystery to men, and because of this they had to do science and theology to study and come to understand the divine, truly I tell you that Christ, when he was among men he spoke to you very simply, so that everyone could understand the doctrine of love. He knew that it would not be well understood, but that it was necessary to wait for the time when, through spiritual evolution that humanity would reach, that would allow for knowing the whole truth. That is why he promised the world to return spiritually and send it a light that would allow it to understand everything that was confused in the heart of humanity. Raise your spirits, because the announced time is the one you are living. That Master who promised to return to you, is the one who speaks to you, and the light that he promised to send you is this one that spiritually is vibrating over all beings. The light of truth is so diaphanous that you do not need to be theologians to understand what was revealed to you through the ages. If at the beginning of the path everything was a mystery for you, step by step and lesson by lesson, I have been removing veils, dispelling darkness and destroying falsehoods. The Father cannot be a mystery for any of his children, because in everything created he allows himself to be felt, touched and looked at, from the smallest to the infinite. The mysteries are created by men without wanting to realize that thereby they stop the spirit in its evolution towards the Creator. I do not tell you, come to the Father so that you may know him, but rather, know the Father, so that you may come to him. Whoever does not know him will not be able to love him, and whoever does not love him will not know how to go to him. I came to the world to tell you, I am the way, and I added, who knows the Son, knows the Father. What was the way of Christ? The one of love, the one of charity, the one of meekness, the one of purity. How was the Son, so that through him you can know the Father? Wise, just, loving, merciful, full of power and charity. That is why the Master came to the world, to show us the true God, not the one that the people had forged in their hearts. In the same way in this era, the light of the Divine Spirit fully descends on all spirits, so that you can rejoice with your spirituality by contemplating the infinite charity of your Father. Blessed is he who follows me on the path of love and humility. Blessed is he who loves and trusts, who knows his mission and fulfills it. When I speak to you of the way, I do not indicate any on earth, because it is not in the world that you live in that my kingdom is. It is the ever-ascending spiritual path. It is the evolution and progress that your spirit must achieve. Therefore, wherever you are on earth, you can be within the path of the Spirit. My children, if you have gone off the path, return to it, if you have stopped, continue forward. The mission that you carry, I have given it to you according to your capacity and strength, you just need to understand it and love it. Pray every day so that you receive the necessary light for your work, then, remain prepared, attentive, so that you can hear the voices of those who call you, of those who request you, and also so that you know how to face trials. Each day of your existence is a page of the book that each one of you is writing. Each day is marked with a test and each test has a meaning and a reason. I want to make of you a healthy people of spirit and matter, because you are the chosen one, the witness of my manifestations in all times, and you have come at this stage to fulfill a delicate mission and to prepare the way for the new generations. I have sown your path with proofs of love so that you do not doubt me or yourselves. Those of you who have heard me during this time, do not go to your grave taking with you the secret of this communication that I have had with you, because this is your main mission. Speak in my name to humanity, testify to my revelations with your works. Do not tell me that you lack preparation to do it, because I have spoken to you a lot, and by hearing me you have purified and dignified yourselves. You can all take this message to the world. The men expect it and are ready to receive it. Have you not discovered the longing for spirituality and peace that humanity has? Aren't you moved by their ignorance and their pain? My Spirit pours over them, speaks to them through their conscience and says, come to me and rest. Take the faith that you need, stop being blind on the road. People, do you know the work that I am developing in the world? No, you tell me, we only see humanity shake, plunge into great abysses and endure a great test. And I tell you that I have allowed man to do justice by his own hand so that he recognizes all his errors, so that he returns to me purified. On every being I have sent my light and I have accompanied it in its days of tribulation. My Spirit has been poured out on every spirit and my angels are scattered throughout the universe, fulfilling my mandates to put everything in order and put it back on track. And when everyone has fulfilled their mission, ignorance will have disappeared, evil will no longer exist, and only good will reign on this planet. Ah, if you had understood me! If you could realize how great is my desire to perfect you, how much you would have already climbed and how close to me you would be. If your will were mine, you would have already reached the top where I wait for you. And what is my longing, people? Your unification and your peace. To help you, you have me among you once again, speaking to you, touching your hearts, awaiting your awakening. Every good tree will be protected and its roots and branches will spread to give shelter and sustenance to the traveler, but the bad weed will be cut off by the roots and thrown into the unquenchable fire. I speak to you in a figurative sense, and when I tell you about that tree, I speak to you about the works of men. To whom I have entrusted great offices, I say, prepare your harvest, fathers of families, teachers and rulers, lords and servants, great and small. I do not want you to present me your lands without cultivation, even if it is a small grain, present it to me clean and pure. Come to me, knock and it will be opened to you. But come joyful, satisfied with your work, so that you feel great, similar to me. My word is heavenly water that quenches the thirst of the spirit. Whoever will drink of it will never be thirsty again. I am the inexhaustible spring that descends like a waterfall and that bathes your spirit and heart. You, who have purified yourselves with pain, prayer and penance, have earned the grace of listening to my word. Continue to be meek and humble, so that you never lose this light. Your life had been arid as a desert, without a shadow, without an oasis, but I made it possible for you to find a palm tree and a fountain in the middle of the desert where you could regain breath and hope. Now that you have recovered your strength, that you have peace in your heart, do not go into the city of sin to lose yourself in its pleasures and vanities. This is and will be called the era of the Spirit, because in it I was to come on the cloud, to shed the light that reveals and dissipates the mysteries, the time in which I was to open the book of teaching in the page corresponding to the era in which you live. With my divine charity I am illuminating the mind of man, which due to its insensitivity to the spiritual, is like a rock, but from that rock I will make water flow and I will even make flowers sprout. Turn your eyes back, look into the past and you will find that I have always sown love in your path. When you have believed me absent and your loneliness has been prolonged, I make myself felt in your heart, I become a staff so that you do not faint. In small portions you gather to listen to my word, but tomorrow you will multiply like the sands of the sea, and those multitudes, spiritually, will be those that formed the 12 tribes of Israel. It is written that he had to gather them to judge them. From these multitudes I will choose those who will be my new apostles at this time, but I will prepare everyone's heart, so that they feel love and charity for their fellow men, so that, obeying the dictates of their conscience and the feelings of their heart, they carry out works among humanity worthy of the one who has destined them to deliver my new message, with the good taste that destroys the bitterness of the world. If you come to consider your mission as a cross, truly I tell you, it is, but I will be your Cyrenian. Everything you do for the good of your brothers, I will return to you converted into light for your spirit. Remember Christ when he ascended to heaven, once his work of love and redemption was finished, full of glory and majesty. Pray, people, prophets appear in the nations speaking of my manifestation, my presence among you. You must recognize them, because they are my envoys, but learn to distinguish them from the false prophets who will also appear, giving words of apparent light, which in their depth will only have darkness. Those who are sent by me will prepare the hearts, they will awaken the peoples, they will be my precursors, so that when you arrive in those regions, you will find the lands fertile. Everything that is happening at this time, my prophets had already announced to you since times past, but who recognizes today the fulfillment of what was announced to you? Many sleep, very few have been awake, and in the midst of the darkness of this night of sin in the world, I have arrived among those who apparently sleep, but who are waiting for me. The book of the third era is being written by my golden scribes under the dictation of my loving voice. The guardian angels, who jealously watch over the Father's teachings, guide the hand of those who write, so that in the book they settle what will remain for future generations, a book of love, a book of perfect wisdom, a book where the humble and the wise, the small and the great, the vain and the simple can read. My word will be the sword that fights. Speaking of my coming in this time, of the form of my communication, it will illuminate rude understandings and pierce hearts of rock, destroying their doubts. My doctrine will continue to spread from heart to heart and from town to town, making itself understood, believed and loved even by the rude, the ignorant, the sinners, the Gentiles and the idolaters, who will recognize my manifestation of love. Recreate yourselves, fill yourselves with joy at the thought that you have felt my presence at this time, because you have already reached the point where your spirit is stripped of what is superfluous, to take with steps of perfection the path that leads to evolution. Watch and pray for those who, having been called, have not wanted to listen to me. Have charity for them. I tell you, in the third era, it is necessary to possess merits to deserve the gifts of the Lord. I have endowed many of you, without you being able to tell me what your merits are, but I who see everything, I know what merits you have done in past times to deserve what I have entrusted to you today, but no one boasts of this revelation, which is something that has not been given to the Spirit to reveal its past to the flesh. Beloved children, keep meeting, but if the day of my lecture arrives and the spokesman does not appear, do not fear, pray, prepare yourselves, raise your spirit towards me, and in that instant I will pour out on you my light, my strength, my grace and my charity. If you seek me with the Spirit, I will speak to you from spirit to spirit. My peace be with you.